presented by Onyx, broadcasting from the Prairie Sportsman Studios. This week's show is brought to you by Lake of the Woods Tourism. Go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com. Show off your pride for the outdoors with new gear from the Sporting Journal Radio store. Go to sportingjournalradio.com, click on store, and browse our selection of hoodies, hats, mugs, and more at sportingjournalradio.com. All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in across the network by demand, sportingjournalradio.com, or by downloading the podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Well, we're post-opener, the annual walleye traditional opening weekend here in Minnesota. How did it go around the state? Well, we're about to go up and find out how things were up at the Great Walleye Factory in northern Minnesota, Lake of the Woods, with Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, how's it going?
It is going good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Did you get out and do some fishing this weekend?
You know, I got out and did some fishing. I didn't get on my favorite lake, Lake of the Woods. I got on a different lake. You know, I think I mentioned to you in a previous show that we have had a 40-plus year family tradition. And the family tradition is a family fishing tournament. I hear somebody one of your assistants making some noise over there.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we're trying to do a show over here. They don't speak English, though, you know, so I'm not sure they're understanding me. But, yeah, Mika and Tiny are fighting over a bone right now. Anyway, so, yeah, you did get out and do some fishing this weekend?
Yeah, got out and did some fishing, you know, and we've had a 40-year-long, 40-plus year fishing tournament for our family. Yeah, it's about 10 people. And, yeah, the way things went, we're fishing a very clear water lake, clear, and there's zebra mussels, and it was dead calm and sunny. And the way the tournament's set up is it's largest fish or heaviest stringer. And if you catch the largest fish, you can't take both trophies. You have to take heaviest fish, and then whoever gets heaviest string gets heaviest stringer. And it's walleyes and pike, and there isn't a differentiation between which species. So under the circumstances, I kind of went pike fishing. I hate to say it. So I went fishing for those rough fish. And you know what? Yeah. Well, you know, the pike are great. We kid around as walleye anglers when you get them, you know, but the pike are great. And, you know, actually you learn how to get that Y-bone out, and they're really good eating too.
They're delicious.
They're very prevalent, catch them all year long, and they are good eating. Mm-hmm. But no, I'll tell you what my go-to method was, Brett. I've been a big fan of that Rapala Rip and Wrap. And I put on a good-sized Rapala Rip and Wrap. And it's funny because I was fishing flats and some emergent weeds. And I tried to go into the parts of the lake that had the warmest water. And you're making long casts to get away from the boat in that clear water. And then when you're working that back, instead of just making a steady retrieve, I really mixed it up a lot. And I found that by pulling it forward and letting it drop on a tight line, and pulling that rattle bait forward and letting it drop on a tight line, that was the ticket. I had a friend of mine fishing in the boat, and he only got a couple of fish, and, you know, I did pretty good. So there was something to the technique, and even with pike, which kind of surprises me. But it was fun. We had a fun opener, caught a lot of big bass accidentally. And yeah, it was good. But, you know, it's family, it's tradition, it's a Minnesota fishing opener. And man, what a weather day we had, huh?
It was beautiful, you know, and you're right. I ran into the same conditions. The lake I was fishing on, it was calm and crystal clear water. It was a beautiful day. Like, I'm not going to complain one bit. The walleyes were a little tough to catch. I caught a pile of pike. Could have kept my 10 pike. In fact, I know some guys at the resort that I was staying at, they caught the two of them, brought 20 pike in, cleaned them up, and they weren't big. You know, big pike. So they did exactly what that 10 fish limit is meant to do, and that's take out some of those smaller pike. But they carved them up and cooked them up that night. And I love eating northern pike, and getting around the Y bones. It just takes a little bit of practice, and then it's pretty easy to do. So I have no problem with that. But it was beautiful. Both Saturday and Sunday, for that matter, Joe, were nice days out there. It would have been a good weekend to be on Lake of the Woods with that water clarity up there.
It was. And before I go on to Lake of the Woods, I should say kudos to Eric Osberg and all the folks at Ottertail Country. You know, that's always, events like that are a lot of work, and it sure seemed like it came off nice. And so kudos to those guys. Great job, and I bet they're relieved it's over.
Oh man, and they had 2 years basically. They had to prepare for it twice, so it's a lot of work to do it once, but to have to prepare for it twice and then pull it off. It was. I think he was pretty relieved. I bet he slept for about 3 days after it was over.
Or that or went fishing, one of the two, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you know what? Lake of the Woods, yeah, in the opener, it was clear, calm, and people could run if they wanted to. And one of the great things about Lake of the Woods is the stained water. Because when it's a clear, calm day, calm might make it a little bit tougher. But I'll tell you what, that stained water, you can catch walleyes in the cloud cover if it's sunny, whatever the case might be. So that helps. And, most everybody caught fish. A lot of big fish caught, a lot of slot fish caught. People got eaters. A lot of people got limits. Most got enough for a fish fry. So yeah, overall fishing was, really good. And it's like one of the guides said, Kurt Quinnell had a video out, and he kind of mentioned, he goes, we caught a lot of 15 to 19-inch walleyes. Where were those fish ice fishing? Everybody gets all concerned about stuff when you're not catching them. And, who knows where those darn walleyes go? Do they go somewhere? Are they in a certain part of the lake where the traffic isn't? Did they slide over to Canada? Somebody mentioned that, during the ice season, that there was a lot of those fish that were suspended down 20 feet below the ice because that's where a lot of food was. So, who really knows? And but it was a good opener, bottom line.
Yeah. Well, anytime you can have nice weather like that, it's going to be a good opener, because getting out there and just enjoying life, doing a little bit of fishing is what it's all about in the long run. And when it's sunny, 70 and calm winds, you can really enjoy life. Like I got Tiny out in the boat for the first time. I introduced her to dock jumping. She had this nice beach, and we had the beach to ourselves all weekend to do some dog stuff. So it was a good time to be alive, Joe.
Yeah, good time. Nobody's swimming, huh?
No, nobody was swimming. I almost jumped in a couple of times. I was joking with some of the guys there that I was ready to go for a swim. And he goes, "It might be a little chilly out there yet."
I got to tell you what I did. And I'm not proud of this at all. First time I've ever done it in my life. I have a judge to measure fish, and I've had that thing for years. And it was getting slimy and bloody and everything else. So many fish were catching. So I put it in the water, and you know what's going to happen. Rubbing it off with my hand to get the slime off. I'm usually very cognizant. In fact, normally I don't even hold over the side of the boat. And the darn thing slipped out of my hand, and I could see that in that clear water drifting down. And I could see it in the bottom of the lake. It was about 10, 11 feet of water. And I could see it. So there's really nowhere to snag it. I tried dragging an anchor over it. That wouldn't pull it up. And I thought, do I strip down to my shorts and dive in and get it? And I thought, with the water temps the way they are, is it worth it? I didn't do it. And I know where it's said. Maybe I can go back and get it. So a couple of my brothers said, "Why didn't you just jump in and get it?" Well, that ice cold water, you got to be a little careful.
And now it's structure, I think is what they call it. You can go back there and fish for crappies.
Yeah, it is structure.
Well,
exactly.
did you ever see that video from Aaron Weeb up in Uncut Angling up in Canada when he fell through the ice, dumped his sled, all of his gear down to the bottom, and then came back when the water opened up in his boat with I think he had a Panoptics or something, and he was finding it all on the sonar and then snagging it all and bringing it all up.
I did see that, yeah. Well, you saw Eric Osberg when he dropped his cell phone in. The after he went through to try to get a cell phone, he never got it through the ice.
Yeah.
Talk about Aaron Weeby. The funny one there I thought was when he, I think he hit 100,000 followers or something on YouTube. So they sent him an award. So what did he do with the award? He drilled a hole on both sides, made a lure out of it, and caught a 40-inch pike on it.
Yeah. It's a kid. Kid's crazy. The things he does to catch fish. He's good. I was ice fishing in South Dakota one time, and with my buddy Tony and my buddy David, and Tony's phone fell into the lake. So we drove into town and bought a net. Oh yeah, here's Aaron getting his stuff. Yeah, we went into town, bought a net, a fishing net, and then some sort of pole. I can't remember what we got for pole. Maybe just PVC pipe. Maybe we got. I can't remember what it was. But then we went back and we taped it all together. And then I had my underwater camera, and I dropped my camera down to the bottom of the lake. And then they dropped that net down with the pole, and then I directed them on camera. And it took It was about a 3 or 4 hour ordeal, but we ended up saving the phone. And phone was trash, but he was able to turn it in for insurance. So it was worth, it was worth going through all that hassle to get it back.
And a judge versus a cell phone, I probably had a half hour into it. I said, all right, for 30 or 40 bucks, whatever it costs,
Yeah.
I'm moving on. I was in a tournament
You
and everything
tried.
else. Yeah. But and then, I should say too, we, our Northwest Angle anglers did real well this weekend too. That up there is fishing more structure, underwater points. And, Brett, jigging was a go-to like we thought it would be. Jigging a fathead or a jigging a frozen shiner. I should mention too, with the Northwest Angle, if people want to get up there, the border's closed, but there's still a couple of very viable ways to get up there. One way is you can boat across the lake. You just got to make sure you get the right boat on the right day and having the right person knows how to run the boat. The other one is the Lake of the Woods passenger service that you have on the screen now. And, that's out of Sportsman's Lodge. That service will take you to any resort up at the Northwest Angle. And of course, the third way is Lake Country Air. So Lake Country Air, based out of Duluth, they now are going to have a plane stationed in Bedad. You can fly over the lake in 10 minutes and land on the water up there, and they'll take you to any resort you want. So it's a really, really good way to get up to the Angle. And, once you get up there, it's nirvana. I mean, it's incredible up there. Fishing's great. I talked to a couple of the people up there, and they said, one of them said, people said they caught fish almost in every spot they went to in the morning. Afternoon was a little bit tougher on opening day. Talked to another resorter. He didn't make it out. He had some work he had to do. He didn't have any trips because he couldn't get customers up there because the roads closed. But he said my wife and my son went out fishing just to test it out, and they both got walleyes. So fishing's been just really good.
What's the latest on the negotiations between the two countries in that situation?
There's some stuff happening. We so appreciate the support we have gotten from Senator Paul Etke, State Senator Paul Etke, Representative Matt Grossel, and then our U.S. senators. Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith, and also Michelle Fishbach, Pete Stauber, and Tom Emmer. Those guys have been sticking up for the Angle. We're going to bat. And, Senator Klobuchar just had a meeting where she went up and she chaired a joint group of politicians from Canada and the United States, high-ranking officials. And Northwest Angle was top of the list. So we thank her for that. And, they're pushing hard. They're trying to work with their Canadian counterparts and figure out something. I did hear that Canada is starting to talk about how to open the border. That was a news report that leaked out, I think, that I hadn't heard before up until this past week. So it looks like things could be coming, but you know what? Our resorts up there, man, they're struggling. Can you imagine? This is a second summer. Everything else is opening up in Minnesota, and they're still stuck. They're held hostage because they got a road that leads through Canada, and there's no talks. Canada won't consider opening that road at this point. And I don't know if it's political. I don't know if it's because they're siloed in their government. I don't know what's going on, but we have the top level officials trying to work on it, and hopefully something pops soon. We're working on two angles, Brett, quite frankly. One of them is to get that 40 miles of remote road opened up through Canada. We're not asking for the whole border in our case. We're just asking for 40 miles. People could be using a GPS tracker. They could be doing a check-in system where they get major fines if they go outside the parameters, or they could be using a pilot car. And we're willing to do whatever we can to make those work. Otherwise, an international travel corridor going up to the Angle would eliminate a lot of problems in the future. Secondly, we're trying to get some financial compensation for these resorts. There's trillions of dollars coming from the federal government about COVID stuff. This is absolutely related to the pandemic. The borders closed. And these poor resorts, some of them are down 90% in their revenue. How much longer can they hang on? I mean, it's just terrible.
If there were to be some sort of GPS device used, or a pilot car, who would cover those costs? Where would that come from?
We will. We'll figure out a way. I mean, if they would consider having a pilot car, hey, back 40 years ago, one of the resorts up at the Angle had to bring fish that they netted. Back then commercial netting was in play. They netted fish and they had to bring them down to Warroad. Well, the Canadians wouldn't let them go through without a pilot car, so they paid for the pilot car, and we could certainly do the same. There's ways we can get this done. This is a 40-mile road that it goes through one small town called Sprague, Manitoba, but there's actually a road that goes around Sprague. And I think you only pass like 10 or 15 driveways on the whole way. It's bush, you know? And the last time, I mean, think about it. You're in a closed vehicle traveling through as a corridor. You're not stopping for anything. And if you would, you get fined seriously. I mean, it could have been done a long time ago. And again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes up in Canada, but we've heard crickets in that regard.
Well, that's
You know,
too
in
bad.
fact, I'll tell you, Paul Colson, who he, you know, so right now for our residents up there, they changed the rules. So after 13 months of being able to travel down and get essentials down in Warroad and Roselle, groceries, medical, now they're being told that they have to get their essential services in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So last month he went to Steinbach, Manitoba to get his groceries, a community of 10,000. Just last week, he and his wife boated across Lake of the Woods and went up to Kenora and had a reporter meet him up there. And if you check the Lake of the Woods Tourism Facebook page out, we have the story that the Kenora reporter wrote that, okay, so let me get this straight. Our Canadian government is telling you as an American who haven't been tested to come up to Canada and to do your shopping and also to try to get your health care as an American in Canada. It doesn't make sense, does it?
None of this stuff makes any sense, and I was really hoping they'd start relaxing some things since America is doing so well in this battle with vaccinations and loosening mask mandates and restrictions. But apparently that's not the case yet up there in Canada. So there's a little bit of work that needs to be done. Joe, we could continue to talk about this border situation, I'm sure, for hours, but let's resume it next week. For people that want to book a trip up to Lake of the Woods or learn more about it, whether the Angle, the Rainy River, or the big lake there, what should they do?
You know what? Hey, fish are biting and we got openings. And you know what? If you want to check out our website, it's lakeofthewoodsmn.com, and you will see a list of all of our resorts and the current fishing report on that website.
Joe Henry, thank you very much.
Have a good week, everybody.
Northern Minnesota's Walleye Factory is a year-round world-class fishing destination. The perfect getaway this summer is just a short drive to Lake of the Woods. Fish Big Traverse Bay, the Rainy River, or visit the unique Northwest Angle. To catch big fish, you have to go where the big fish are. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com.